Everything has its moment, and what we ask for beneath the heavens has its time. Sometimes we say that God's timing is perfect, but when we face difficulties, we forget these words. Instead of seeking peace, we ask for a quick solution in our desperation. Other times, when we need something, be it material or emotional, we pray to God, asking for what we want. But often, it seems that time passes without an answer, and we think that God has not heard us or does not want to grant what we ask for. This is common nowadays, as we want everything instantly, even God's answers. Even in our conversations with God, we want quick answers and at our pace. We become impatient and forget the words of Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. To everything, there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. This is true, but we often don't know how to wait and lack faith. God tells us that our requests will be fulfilled at the right moment because His timing is perfect. If we compare our timing to God's, we will see that what we ask for arrives at the right time, neither sooner nor later, because everything has its time, and every prayer has its hour. Often, our lack of patience comes from a lack of faith. Faith helps us wait for God's answers with serenity. If you feel discouraged right now, ask God for patience to know how to wait, and, above all, ask Him to strengthen your faith so you don't give up. God can give you peace and tranquility, even in the midst of difficulties. God has a transformative power that goes beyond our human understanding. Often, we find ourselves in challenging situations where adversity seems overwhelming and darkness looms over us. In those moments, it's easy to feel alone and that our prayers fall on deaf ears. However, the truth is that God is working in mysterious and amazing ways in our lives. A Bible verse that captures this truth is Jeremiah 29, verse 1, which says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." This verse reminds us that God has a plan for each of us, a plan that seeks our well-being and future, even when our paths seem uncertain. Sometimes, when our prayers are not answered in the way we expect, it may be because God sees beyond our immediate desires. He knows our hearts and understands what we truly need. Just as a wise father doesn't always give his child what they ask for, but what is best for them, God also guides us toward a path that will ultimately benefit us. When we face deep challenges and adverse moments, it's important to remember that God is by our side. Nothing escapes Him, and He is working in our lives in ways we often cannot see or understand. Through faith and trust in His wisdom, we can rest in the assurance that He has the power to change our thinking and actions to lead us toward a future full of hope and well-being. So, if you feel that God is taking His time, or it seems like He hasn't heard you, remember that it's not the case. God has a plan and will respond at the perfect moment. Stay alert because God's answer is on the way, and it may have already arrived. May the peace of God be with you today and always.